So hi sir, today we are going to present the Enigma machine that our group came up with. First, we will be talking about brief description of what the program is for and what it does. So we are tasked to have an operational Enigma machine for our midterm project. The Enigma machine is mainly used for encrypting data. Encryption is an algorithm of taking the data and converting it into encrypted form to prevent unauthorized access. It also ensures that the data is secured. The program takes an input from the user, and all the input letters will be displayed in the text box. Every time the user presses a key, the program will take its equivalent ASCII value and then pass it to its counterpart until it reaches the last ring. The value from the last ring will be converted into card data type. Then the encrypted form will also be displayed in the text box.
So next, we will be discussing our theoretical explanation of the Enigma machine. For file reading, we created three methods for reading the files, namely the button click event, ring reader, and the file reader. So first is the button click. This is used to select the CSV file from the open file dialog. Once the file is selected, the file name will be displayed in the text box and we assign the file name to a string variable. Inside the button click method is what we call the ring reader method, which takes only one parameter, the string variable wherein the content of the selected CSV file is taken by the ring reader as the parameter. Next is the ring reader, which takes the selected CSV file's content as its parameter. We created a 2D int array to store the values of the CSV file. This method reads the file, then stores each value by its column and row number. Inside this method is what we call the file reader, which also takes the CSV file path as its parameter. What it only does is that it stores all values in a list. All in all, the list will contain 91 lines. Then for ring selection and setting, we created button click events for the increment and decrement of values. For the ring selection, the user will select three different rings. The first column of the ring is excluded since it is sorted alphabetically, or this is what we call the default the default. The ring selection contains 5 rings that the users can choose from. For the ring setting, the user will decide which value he or she wants to start the rotation from. Again, the user will pick 3 values. The increment button under ring setting can increase up to 91. The decrement buttons for both ring selection and setting are used to reduce the value. We also created a method for the rotation. The selected values from the ring setting are the integral part of the encryption. Once the user presses a key, the first value in the ring setting will increment by 1 until it reaches 91. Once the first ring reaches 91, the second ring will increment by 1, and so on, while the program also converts the input into an encrypted form.
So for the functions of the program, so first, here is our user interface. Unless there are no existing rings and there's no CSV file selected, the user would be unable to input anything into the computer. So first, we have a button named Open File Dialog. This function triggers when the button is clicked. This button allows the user to select an input file. This is where the users will choose the CSV file that will be used in the Enigma machine. We have a CSV file that we are using in this case, and it contains the ASCII values. So second, after selecting the CSV file that we will be using, the ring count will be shown below the file path. This portion will display the number of rings that are detected in the CSV file. Third, the ring selection portion is where the users will choose from 5 different rings. As for the ring setting, this is where the users will choose where to start the cycle of the rings. Included in this part are the increment and decrement buttons. The increment button is used to increase the value, while the decrement button is used to decrease the value. Fourth, after setting up the rings, the users will receive a prompt that asks if they want to confirm the settings. And after confirming, the user will now be able to type in the input box. All the uncoded letters and words will be displayed in the raw letters box below. Then as the users are typing the message in the user input text box, they will also be able to see the encrypted conversion of the message at the bottom of the window. Backspace is also usable to help the users delete some texts or letters that they would like to omit afterwards.
So for our program features, so first is the message prompt. So once the user is done selecting links and setting the values, the program will ask if the user is sure with the value selected. If the response is yes, the program will continue. Otherwise, the user will still be able to change and tweak the ring selection and ring settings. This program is also capable of using different CSV files, since nothing is hard-coded. The first ring in the setting increases by 3 so that it's much faster selecting the desired value. Lastly, the program's file dialog is filtered to CSV files only.
That's pretty much everything for our presentation, our Enigma machine. Thank you so much, sir.